So here's the difference between the old one and the new one. So this is the old one with the plastic, brittle plastic here. Luckily mine did not break, but a lot of times it will break right back here or right here at the connector. Gotta shake it 3 times, no more than that, otherwise you're playing with it. Hello friends, welcome to my Nissan Xterra vlog. Today we are replacing these heater hose assemblies. These were ordered from Dorman off of Amazon. So you've got the smaller one, you got the inlet and outlet. And then we're also replacing the hose here. I'll show you where this one goes in just a minute. So today we are working on the passenger side of the Xterra. And we're going to replace these 2 hoses, the inlet and the outlet of the heater core hoses. Now make sure you get a little drain basin under the truck. When you're discontinuing these coolant lines, you may get some loss of coolant. So the hardest part is getting to the clamps that are up against the firewall. That's just what we're gonna do now. I'm gonna use my curved needle nose pliers to get there. When you get the right tools, which some may argue that this may not be the right one, makes the job a little easier. Back up the hose clamp all the way. Okay. And then hopefully we can pull back on that. And then we'll do the same thing with this guy here too. Okay, backing both of these out, both hose clamps. Next is we're going to remove this hose clamp. Now when we remove this hose, don't be surprised that it will break the plastic connector inside, just because plastic is so brittle. That's why we're replacing it. Surprisingly enough, this is staying robust. Not too bad. Oop. Lose a little bit of coolant there, not too much. Of course, you have a little tray prepared right under the truck to catch some of the overflow. Okay, now similarly, we're going to go ahead and undo this clamp here and disconnect the hose. There it is. And sure enough, part of it broke off. A little bit of loss of coolant here. So I may lose half a quart maybe. And now we're going to remove the hoses off the firewall. Okay, that pulled off. So this piece broke off inside the hose here. So I will be replacing this hose too. But that's what they look like. This is the new piece, this is the old piece. You're not gonna have this little T. This is for Pathfinder models that have rear AC, so the extra line. So this is what we're going to replace it with. Okay, now the next trick is before you disconnect this line here, you need to remove 2 10mm bolts that are holding the hose to the firewall. So these guys right here, there's one on this side and one down there. So both of these need to be loosened. The one on the passenger side, it's gonna require pretty tiny socket. Not bad to get to, just a little awkward. Here it is, 10mm. And then we're gonna work on the other side. Okay. Here's the second 10mm. Okay. And now it's loose and we'll be able to remove it. Okay, so now on to removing this guy. I can just pull it. There we go. Pulls right off. Now it's loose. Now the next thing we need to do is follow the line, and then we just need to disconnect this clamp right here. Need to remove this one. Okay, so now as we dive in, I have the clamp backed up here And we're gonna go ahead and remove this hose. Again, some loss of coolant is expected, so make sure you have a tray underneath. I do have, oh yeah. Gotta shake it 3 times, no more than that. Otherwise you're playing with it, right? So let that drain. And then we're just gonna go ahead and remove the entire line. Well, she's out. So now I'm gonna remove this hose right here. I'm gonna replace it. Okay, so this is the hose we're going to replace with a new one. Just to compare the original Nissan part, you can kind of see there's a Nissan logo on there, even though it's all in Japanese. Definitely an original part. It actually gives you the part number right on it. Might be discontinued by now. And I just got the Gates brand alternative, so it's an identical one, hopefully. You can see the internal diameter of the new one is a little bit smaller. It probably has to do with sitting on the clamp. These are fairly the same. Okay, let's throw that in. Oh, and by the way, the Gates one is made in USA, so kind of cool. Well, one thing I've learned that this Gates hose is a bit too large external diameter. You can see how poorly the clamp fits on it. So when the clamp is relaxed, it is very restrictive compared to this one. So I'm going to reuse the factory hose or order a new one, a new factory, but I'm not satisfied with this Gates one. Okay, so as I assemble this, I'm going to go ahead and connect this hose here, and then we're going to go ahead and install the assembly. So this is the way this is getting installed. Alright, so I've pre-assembled this line here, and we're going to go ahead and get this connected. And with this one comes from factory, so it's just a little helper clip. So then once you install that, you can remove the little clip here. I'm trying to do it all with one hand. It's a little challenging. And then you can just use a screwdriver, pop that upwards, and that will pop the clip right off. Okay, so that shows me that I'm not on all the way, so you just need to grab your needle nose, squeeze. So the one that came with the Dorman, the clamp that come with Dorman, does not hold the hose in place. You can see this clamp is very loose. So what I want to do is I need to remove it. It's like attached to the hose somehow. And then reuse the clamp from the old one. So this should hold a little bit tighter. Okay, so this is the original clamp, and this is the one that came, original one and this one. This one's just ever so slightly larger diameter, so it doesn't hold as well to the firewall. So I'm going to reuse the original one. Okay, I have the original clamp on. Okay. And, okay. First one's done, one more to go. So here's the difference between the old one and the new one. So this is the old one with the plastic, brittle plastic here. Luckily mine did not break, but a lot of times it will break right back here or right here at the connector. So now you have this aluminum piece that is not fragile. So this is not gonna break, that's not gonna break right here. And it comes with a hose, so all we have to do is just bolt it to 10mm, connect here, there, and there, and then we're done. All right, just want to give you a quick tip. What you want to do when you're installing the line, make sure that these guys are lined up just like the original part, because what's happening is this one out of the package, the brackets are not lined up properly. I need to push them over this way a little bit, so then this hose lines up with the one coming out of the firewall. So now we just need to fight it a little bit. Squeeze that clamp. Get the fitting on. All right, the last hose needs to be hooked up. All right, so just to review, you need to make sure that this clamp is attached. Make sure your 10mm ones are done. Make sure that that one is clamped, this one is, that one, this one, and then looking down under this hose, you can't really see, but this clamp right here needs to be done. That's it. You are done swapping out your heater core tees with nice metal. They're not as brittle, of course. They're not brittle at all, and these are going to last the lifetime of a truck. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos on this Xterra.